What's up everyone, welcome to another factions recap. This is gonna be a good one. My squad is up against the Gorilla Garbodors, who have some of the best players from Germany, including the world champion Dancing Rob. After 6 out of 7 matches were played, the score was tied 9-9, which meant it all came down to me to win the final best of 3 so my team could win. That wasn't gonna be easy though, as I'm faced up against an amazing player, Stonecollection, who I've featured on the channel before for his amazing Samurott gameplay at the World Championships. I do feel a bit confident though, because I've played Stonecollection a couple times in the past and my record against him is pretty positive. Besides that, just looking at the two teams we brought, I have a pretty decent matchup here. He's brought Double, Munchlax, Alolan Raichu, Azumarill, Frostlass and Skuntank versus my Shadow Beedrill, Alolan Raichu, Double, Frostlass, Azumarill and Skuntank line. On first sight, my Beedrill looks absolutely amazing. It's able to beat Azumarill, Skuntank and Alolan Raichu pretty consistently, whilst also being quite good against Double and Frostlass. Munchlax is a little problem for it because it just outbulks, but still, Beedrill can put in a lot of work there. Then also my Azumarill is looking pretty good. Really only has to worry about the Skuntank and Alolan Raichu, which Azumarill really has a lot of play against. So my plan here is to just bring Beedrill and Azumarill basically every game, since they cover each other extremely well, both from a coverage standpoint but also from a bulk standpoint. Since Beedrill is really squishy, basically gets one shot by a lot of these charge moves. But in contrast to that, Azumarill can take a lot of moves. So if I pair Azumarill and Beedrill together, I can make sure I allocate all my shields to the Beedrill, since that's really what it needs, where Azumarill will do fine if shields are down as well. I wasn't too sure what to expect from Stonecollection here, but at the very least I was expecting him to be afraid of the Beedrill since it's so strong against his team. So he's very likely to bring Frostlass and or Munchlax in his team, which I have a couple core breakers for. Mainly Azumarill and Double are the best there. So my plan is to lead one of those and then pivot into Beedrill if I have a bad lead. Because with like 2 poison jabs advantage, it does really well versus both Frostlass and Munchlax still. Originally, I was gonna do an Azu lead, since Azu just does better when shields are up than Double, but that seemed so obvious that I decided to go with Double lead instead in the first game, with Azumarill and Beedrill in the back. Anyway, we're gonna head into the battles, but before we do, I want to ask y'all, if you end up enjoying this video, please consider leaving a like and a subscribe. Let me know, I should be making more factions recaps. Anyway, first game, I pick up an amazing lead with the Munchlax into my Double. Out comes a Frostlass, which I have a very good response into in the Azumarill. This is actually not that clean cut of a matchup. Frostlass has a lot of play there. If I switch slow enough, he might be able to reach a third Shadow Ball here. I'm gonna go for the player off straight away here. They're gonna shoot it up. I want to take 2 shields here ideally, or bring the Frostlass low enough to where I can like poison jab down or double kick down. Either one is fine with me. So I'm gonna shoot this up as the Shadow Ball would knock me out. Go for another player off here. I'm actually expecting to get the Frostlass to get to another move after this, even if they let this go, which they do. But I actually end up just barely bubbling it down, which makes this matchup so much easier, because now I will get the Double aligned to the Munchlax again without having to use both my shields, which I wasn't planning on doing either way, even if the Frostlass had gotten to another Shadow Ball. But now I have switch advantage and this Munchlax has taken a player off, so this is pretty huge. I'll let that go, of course. Bring in my Double now and we're gonna see what they have in the back. It is an Azumarill, and this game is basically just over at this point. Ice Beam will do a decent chunk versus Beedrill, so I'm actually gonna shoot it up, as it is basically the hardest hitting move at this point. Of course, don't want to risk anything. Gonna go for a Duron here. This won't knock out the Azu, but will bring it very low, and might even get a shield. Does get a shield here. I get to another Duron here on the CMP tie. This should knock out the Azumarill, and then I should be fine to just take out the Munchlax with either one of my Pokemon. Especially since my Double is still so incredibly healthy. I'll just go for the X-Scissor here, because he might throw a Body Slam and I just want to get this damage in. But yeah, as you can see, we just farm it down with a double kick right now. GG's. For the second game, I was really considering going with the first line again, since it was so dominant. And even if I lost lead, I was confident I could come back with that team, but in the end I decided against it. Instead, I'm going with an Azumarill lead this time with Beedrill as a pivot and then Skuntank in the back, so double poison. Let's see if this works. I really wish I led the double again though, as he led with the Munchlax once more. It's a fine matchup for Azumarill though, but my worry here is that it's a similar line as last time with Froslass in the back, which means that if I take out this Munchlax with my Azumarill and my Azumarill is basically dead, the Froslass can almost sweep my line. Because both Skuntank and Beedrill don't do amazing versus Froslass when shields are up, unless I can get like some baits. But it's a different team. They bring out Alolan Raichu, which is actually not that great for Beedrill. Alolan Raichu wins the ones here, since they get the 2 Thunder Punches before they can get the 2 X-Scissors. But that's very fine with me. I'm just gonna shield everything up, farm all the way down, have a lot of energy on Beedrill, so I can Run whatever comes in. I'm still expecting Froslass in the back, but that should be fine, as I have a fully healthy Skuntank and a Azumarill basically to take care of it. Munchlax comes in, goes straight for the Duran. They also threw a Body Slam immediately. Take me out. They're not going to shield that, which is kind of unfortunate. A shield there would have been really nice for me. But this is okay. Should be able to farm now with Skuntank before a Body Slam. But I'm expecting also them to bring in Froslass, which they do right here. Just going to get the Crunch. If I get a debuff now, that would be huge. But even if I don't, I think I'm fine. Let's see, we survived this avalanche just barely. This is part of the reason I run the regular Skuntank, by the way, not Shadow. You can just take those avalanches a little better, get to the Cruncher, and I get the drop, which is massive. Without that drop, the Play Rough wouldn't do as much damage. As you're gonna see, this will almost knock out the Froslass now, which will allow me to bubble down before they get to the second Shadow Ball. I'm not too sure if it mattered though. Now I just straight up win the game, like easily. I farm down before next, and this Munchlax can't do anything. I'm not too sure if it mattered, just because my Skuntank was also still alive. If the Froslass would have gotten to another Shadow Ball there and taken out my Azu, I would have just Poison Jabbed the Froslass down, and then I'm pretty sure I would have been able to Poison Jab the Munchlax down too before they got to the Body Slam, but it would have definitely been closer. So yeah, I win the second game. My team wins the bout. But there is more at stake. Before this match started, I was at 97 total battle wins at Silph factions, which means I am now 1 away from reaching triple digits, as I believe the first in the world, or one of the first, at least I believe the first in the highest tier. So I really wanted to get this 3rd win to reach that cleanly. I'm gonna try to do that with the same line I ran in game 1. I believe Stonecollection to be a pretty stubborn player. We saw it in the World Championships when he just ran Samurott every single game. Even when it didn't look that good, he was running the Samurott. It looked like just to prove a point. So I'm kind of expecting him to lead the Munchlax again. But he read that like a book and brings the best answer to my double in Azumarill, and I answer with Beedrill, and he makes a very good play right here. This we have to rewind, okay? Beedrill with like 2 Poison Jabs advantage does extremely good against this team. Even if he brings in the Froslass, I can go straight Drill Run, win the ones. And he expected that. He didn't do a bubble here, actually waited to see if I switched before switching his Froslass, which means now I don't have an energy lead, which is not ideal. Now in order to win the ones, I'm gonna have to X-Scissor bait, which I don't do because I am scared he's gonna no-shield it. I know I have to bait to win the ones, so I was expecting maybe he no-shields, but he shields it up, sadly. And now I shouldn't reach the Druin, but Stonecollection actually ends up over-farming. He seems to prefer just getting a bunch of energy on Froslass here instead of knocking out my Beedrill. He does throw this move right before my X-Scissor, so he was definitely taking good care of counting. I think he just wanted to have a bunch of energy on Froslass, which makes sense because he's still going to be able to do a ton of work with this thing. This is why I brought Azumarill though. It's not the greatest answer to Froslass as we saw earlier, but at least I can tank a couple Shadow Balls without having to use shields. He builds up to another move right there before switching out, which is kind of scary as an Avalanche. Will do a bunch to my double, but this is fine as I kind of want my Azumarill on this Azumarill now to chip it down enough to where my double can take it out later. This is not looking too good though. This Azumarill will be able to take out my Azumarill, have a Froslass with an Avalanche stored, and all I have is a double with 1 shield, which will definitely be taken out by either Froslass or the Azumarill here. Amazing counting by my opponent here, throwing the Play Rough right before my own. Actually Ice Beam to take me out, saving a little bit of energy. I bring in my double here. I'm just gonna overfarm a ton. The way I win this battle is just by having a ton of energy stored for whatever is in the back. And hopefully that's a Alolan Raichu. If it's a Alolan Raichu, I can just one-shot with payback. If it's anything else, I think I'm out here. Since the Azumarill will definitely still get to another move as well. Or Munchlax. Actually, Munchlax would be amazing too. If they have something strong against double, they bring it in now, but they actually bring the Azumarill, which means it's probably something a bit weak to double. Either Munchlax or Alolan Raichu. Let's see what it is. Either way, I want as much energy as possible here, just in case it is the Alolan Raichu. I want to have a payback stored, basically, so I can get it before they get a move. They let me farm them down. Out comes the Alolan Raichu. We payback it. Does this knock it out? I think it will. It does take him out, and we take down Stonecollection 3-0. Win the bout, and I get my 100th win in Silph factions. GG's to Stonecollection, the rest of the Gorilla Garbodors. There were some really amazing battles all throughout this bout, so definitely look forward to facing them again next cycle. Anyway, hope everyone enjoyed the video. See you next one. Good luck with your battles, trainers.